My name is Fred, and this is the A+ show. Tonight we'll be exploring how texts with drastically different contexts and genres are able to produce the similar ideas, such as the portrayal of women being oppressed and objectified. We have a very special person joining us. Fred! And we will be comparing and contrasting The Handmaid's Tale and Modern Family. How are you going on this beautiful May Day? So, do you care to tell us a bit about the role you play?
I played Offred in the novel The Handmaid's Tale, written by the beautiful and talented
Margaret Atwood. Stay tuned for an interview with Margie later on.
Yes, I was once an ordinary woman, with my husband Luke and my beautiful baby girl. But then I am tragically taken away to the Red Centre by a theocratic government that overran America. I am stripped of my individuality and my past life, and I'm forced to sleep with some gross guy named Fred. Just to bear children for this stupid regime. I'm forced to be a bloody sex slave for these wimp guys that, God forbid, are probably all sterile, but are just too arrogant to admit it. And then all the blame is placed on us women, then we're stripped once again and called unwomen, sent off to the colonies, just because we can't have bloody babies. Like, Jesus, why would I want to sleep with a gross man once a month with his cold wife standing over me? And then go through 9 months of hell to bear a child for the stupid regime just to do it all over again. Like, I'd rather join Laura at Jezebel's. The reader views this story through my privileged perspective and my voice. However, I am speaking on behalf of all the women oppressed by Gilead. But, unfortunately, they weren't as lucky as I am to escape, and they are forever being silenced.
Well, I'm sure the beauty of the May Day got you through. What genre is it? A dystopian novel. Classic. From a dystopian genre, we expect conventions such as an active protagonist, a repressive government that is always watching, and the protagonist being a leader of the rebel group. We were lucky enough to get Margaret Atwood on the line to discuss how these conventions are upheld.
Well, these conventions are dynamic. They change over time as the story develops. Well, of course, the repressive government Gilead is always watching. This is constructed through my use of symbolism of the eyes. I want the audience to fear the eyes as much as Offred does. You never know who around you might just be the secret police. Also, it upheld conventions of a rebel group. There is a little Mayday rebel group running around. However, it is expected that Offred, the main protagonist, would be the leader of this group, but this isn't the case. At the beginning of the novel, she isn't aware of the rebel group. However, as the novel develops, so does her interaction with the rebels. She is recruited and ultimately saved by the group, but she's never an active leader of the group. And sure, there is violence like sexual violence, the state-endorsed rape through ceremonies, and physical violence such as the execution of people that are an enemy of Gilead. However, there is never a lot of action and violence. I have used a descriptive style which seems bold, crisp, and aggressive at times when reviewing the violent situations. Through my descriptive style, it constructs Offred as if she's somewhat detaching herself from the traumatic events in order to protect herself.
Look, the viewers expected this episode to be on Modern Family, and they're pretty disappointed. So, Modern Family and Handmaid's Tale crossover time. Do you know anything about Modern Family, Offred?
Well, let me jog your memory. I'm sure most of us have watched the mockumentary family sitcom, the TV show Modern Family, which revolves around 3 types of families, blended, nuclear, and same-sex, living in America. The top-tier comedy episodes usually go for about 22 minutes with an 18 to 49-year-old target demographic.
Hang on, The Handmaid's Tale is a dystopian novel, and Modern Family is a mockumentary family sitcom TV show. You know, 2 very different things, but with the same target demographic. So, what do these have in common?
I know, and I'll get to that. I'm sure you think Modern Family upholds genre conventions, such as a generic location, and it somewhat does. Most of the filming takes place in the family's houses. However, as the family dynamic is so large, sometimes we, the audience, are introduced to settings that aren't familiar. For example, in the episode Australia, guess where they travel to? Australia? You guessed it. Definitely not their normal set. Also, a Modern Family is a huge cast. There are 12 people in the main cast, and this number just keeps on increasing due to adoptions and births. Ultimately, this defies genre conventions, as sitcoms usually have small casts. For example, Atypical have 4 people in their main cast. Finally, sitcoms usually employ the use of character stereotypes or generalizations. There are plenty of these, especially in female characters, which we'll get to later.
Ken is portrayed as a typical, over-exaggerated, flamboyant gay guy. I heard in real life he's not like this. Also, they are completely different genres, and the context of production is totally different. I think both The Handmaid's Tale and Modern Family are completely different. Sure, there are have been movie and TV show adaptations of The Handmaid's Tale, but after all, Modern Families is a dumb TV show.
I'm glad you mentioned the different modes of text. What was that, Alfred? Did you ask what the similarities of the texts were? Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Both are pretty sexist in how they portray women, even though The Handmaid's Tale is kinda harsh, and Modern Family is a light TV show you can watch with the whole family. Take Gloria, played by Sofia Vergara. She is constructed to be overly sexualized, and even jokes made by other characters are about her appearance, leading many audience members to associate Gloria with her appearance rather than the role she plays. You know what they say, sex sells.
That doesn't seem right. Why doesn't anybody say anything about the sexist representation of women?
Well, that's because as audience members, we are so used to this portrayal of women, we just accept it and we don't even question it. Also, it is important to note the other sexist portrayal of other women in Modern Family. Take Hayley Dunphy. She is just a young, pretty, dumb character who is juxtaposed by her younger sister, Alex, who is more intelligent. In real life, Ariel Winter, the actress that plays Alex, is actually pretty attractive, but just pop on some glasses, let her talk about maths, and get shadowed by her older sister, and suddenly she isn't attractive. She's just smart. Even though The Handmaid's Tale and Modern Family are two completely different genres, you're sexualized too. But it's hard to be sexualized through your appearance when you're wearing a potato sack all day. Instead, the power of your body is especially important to the Gilead regime to bear some babies for them. This is embedded in the text, and Atwood uses symbols of the colour red and eggs to represent your fertility, which is desirable to both men and everybody in the Gilead society.
Women in the Gilead society are forced into roles in which they fit. In Modern Family, it isn't quite as forced, but both texts represent similar ideas about women.
But the way these issues are presented through characters and settings are drastically different. I mean, you're no Sofia Vergara.
What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, your costume isn't as revealing as her, and you're not that funny.
Okay, I get it. Both Margaret Atwood and the producers of Modern Family have characterised the female subjects in different ways, but we both represent the objectification of women and how we are used by bastards like you, Fred. You know what? I'm out of here.
Soz lol? Well, now it's just you and me. Let's look into this deeper.
Gloria is overly sexualized in the show. This objectification of women through sexualizing has been so widely accepted over time, no one really has a problem with it, and almost nobody questions it. On the other hand, in The Handmaid's Tale, Alfred definitely is not constructed the same. She wears a full coverage cloak and veil. However, she's still able to use the power she has, her body, to taunt and tease the males that have too been oppressed by Gilead's regime. However, Modern Family does not take a sexist position on all women. Claire Dunphy is often forced to be the breadwinner of the household, picking up the jobs of her husband, Phil. Sounds familiar? Roles being forced onto women because the man in charge says so? For example, the episode Phil's Sexy Sexy House, which yes, even by the title of this episode, you know you're in store for a wild ride. In this episode, Phil, who is a real estate agent, tries to sell a house by sexualizing his own wife. Geez, The Handmaid's Tale and Modern Family for sure have one thing in common: selfish guys. I mean, Fred cheats on his wife, and Phil uses his wife's body to sell a house. The writer of this episode is Christopher Lloyd and Stephen Leviton. It's pretty clear there are a few differences between these two writers and Margaret Atwood. However, there are minor similarities. Chrissy Boy is 60, Stevie Boy is 58. Both very close in age and raised and born in America. Thus, they have a pretty similar context of production. On the other hand, Margaret Atwood is 80 years young, born in Canada, and found herself in West Berlin. Thus, life she had experienced is very different compared to Chris and Steve. I'm sure most of us are familiar with the Berlin Wall, but if you're not, I'll do a quick rundown. During the Cold War, an Iron Curtain was constructed separating the capitalist West Germany and communist East Germany. The capitalist side was where Margaret found herself, which may seem fine, but it still would have impacted her life, which also influenced The Handmaid's Tale. She said that the divided city led her to wonder what a totalitarian state in the context of North America would look like. It is clear that the TV show Modern Family represents what society is like today, exploring all family dynamics such as same-sex, nuclear and blended families. It also explores the growing role of women within the family unit and society. For example, Claire Dunphy in Modern Family often takes on Phil's more masculine family roles, being the breadwinner for the household. Because the setting of Modern Family is accepted and familiar, the construction of women when sexualized is not questioned by the audience. Even though both The Handmaid's Tale and Modern Family is set in America in different time periods, of course, Modern Family being modern, as it says in the title, duh, and The Handmaid's Tale being somewhere in the future, it really does seem to the reader that The Handmaid's Tale is far from society now. However, the scary reality is, the setting of The Handmaid's Tale has either happened or is happening right now. Atwood even said herself, speculative fiction encompasses that which we could actually do. Sci-fi is that which we're probably not going to see. Arranged marriage, sex slavery, totalitarian governments has all been seen in history and currently now. In fact, Atwood says that in her book, her book is basically entirely made up of historical allusions. Although the context of production is totally different, the context of reception is somewhat the same, as the role of women in both texts is still relevant today. The Handmaid's Tale did come out in 1985, way before Modern Family in 2009. However, The Handmaid's Tale and Modern Family are still viewed today by similar target audiences, Western and the ages of 18 to 49. Thus, it is clear that totally different texts like Modern Family and Handmaid's Tale can represent similar ideas. Soz lol over time. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's show, and hypothetically, if you were an English ATAR teacher at Sacred Heart College, you would give it an A.